Have you ever stood at the kitchen and thought, I cannot answer one more question. I cannot put out one more fight, and I can't handle one more emotion that's not mine. But everyone still needs you. The kids need you, the house needs you, your husband needs you, but you are running on empty. If that's you, Mom, you're in the right place. Hi, my name is Melinda, and this is Young and Gritty, where we work with moms to help you raise resilient kids. This video is for moms and grandmas who are tired of being on 24/7, but still want to raise strong, resilient kids. Here's the good news. You can raise resilient kids without getting burnt out yourself. In fact, let's see what scripture says to us in Matthew 11:28. Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." So let's talk about how to parent from rest instead of exhaustion. Now, mom exhaustion is real, but mom exhaustion is not laziness. It's not spiritual weakness. The fact is, Mom, you're juggling a whole lot of stuff. You're juggling kids' schedules and sports schedules and school pressures. You're juggling behaviors, meals, and your own mental health and own well-being. Asking yourself, did I get my 10,000 steps in today? Or did I track all of my macros, right? All these things we are juggling as moms. And somewhere in the middle of this, we're trying to raise resilient kids while not feeling weak ourselves. Now, God never intended us to parent without his strength. Let's look at Isaiah 40 and verse 29. What does scripture say? He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. You don't need more hustle. You need new habits. Habits that reduce the pressure, build resilience in your kids, and lift this weight that you've been carrying. So today, let's look at 4 strategies that will change your home and your energy. All right, strategy number 1, micro rest moments. Now, we often don't need an hour to recharge. We just maybe need a couple of minutes, right? Think about this. Jesus did this very thing himself. Look with me what Jesus did in Mark. Mark 1:35 says, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed." Jesus would withdraw himself, and he would fill himself up before he was empty. We often wait until we are empty before we pause. So what does a micro rest look like? Well, let me give you a personal example. I remember one time I really wanted to read this book, and I could not find a quiet minute in the day just to sit and read. And I remember going into my son's room, and he had bunk beds at the time, and I crawled up in that one bunk bed and tried to kind of hide myself to find just a few minutes to read a couple of pages in this book. Well, my kids found me, but I said, "Hey, can you just give Mom a couple of minutes so I can read?" It might mean before you go in the house, after working all day, you just sit in the car for 60 seconds. It might mean that you walk outside and get some sunshine on your face. It might mean going into the bathroom and just staying a little longer. I mean, who's going to come in the bathroom, right, Mom? Here in my town where I live, we have a train that runs through town all the time. And most people think that the train is frustrating. You know, oh, I have to sit and wait on this train. But I kind of like waiting on the train because I can just sit in the car. I can't go anywhere. I just have to sit and be. These tiny resets shift your nervous system, calm your body, and make it easier for you to parent with intention. Strategy number 2, be a present mom, not an entertainer mom. Now that one's kind of huge. Sometimes moms, I think we feel like we have to always keep our kids stimulated. We have to make everything fun, or we have to be entertaining, or manage every emotion all of the time. When in fact, kids don't need a circus, they need a calm, present mom. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy, not be performing, but be still. Here are some practical ways to be still. I remember when my kids were little and I would often just sit on the floor beside them and grade papers. I kind of use this 15% rule. That means I need to be actively engaged 15% of the day. The other time I can be present with them. I can fold laundry where they are playing. I can grade my papers or work on my lap time while they are reading or doing something. I am with them in that space, and I can easily jump in the conversation. Another way is to have boring mom minutes. Say to your kids, Mom needs to be boring for 10 minutes. Can we just shut off the TV and you guys play on your own? Let mom be boring for a few minutes. This gives them a chance to play on their own and gives your brain a rest. Another thing you can try is the emotional echo. So let's say your kids come in and they are having a hard time with their math homework. This homework is just really frustrating. Well, repeat that back to them. So you're frustrated with your homework, right? Yeah, and then they can explain to you what's going on, right? This allows them to hear you validate what their problem is without rescuing them. And that's 10 times easier, and it builds their own emotional resilience. Maybe create a no rescue time zone. So you set a timer for 10 minutes and say, Mom's not helping. For 10 minutes, Mom's not helping. Ask yourself what you can do. I know you can figure things out. And give them a chance to try on their own. This gives them a growth mindset and gives you some mental rest. The third strategy to try is coach, but don't carry. Moms, oftentimes we want to carry all of our kids' responsibilities and our emotions and their conflicts, but Galatians 6:5 tells us that everyone should carry their own load. Read that with me in Galatians 6:5. Not your load, but their load. Coaching makes your kids stronger and makes your life easier. So here's how you can coach practically. Ask your kids, what's your next step? So they come in, they can't find their coat. Well, what's your next step? They're having a fight with their sibling. Well, what's the next step? What can you try? This builds their problem-solving muscles. Another thing you can try is give them 2 choices with an action. Both choices require that they do something, so you're guiding them, not rescuing them. So it might look like, hey, solve this problem with either kind words or sit down for 30 seconds and figure it out. Take a breath. So both require an action that they have to do to come up with a solution. A third thing you can try to coach practically is to delay your help. All right, everybody, I want you to try it on your own for 2 minutes. Most of the time, the issues will resolve themselves during the wait. And the last thing you might try is to share with them your thought process of how you handle problems. Like, for example, you might say to your kids, all right, when I have a problem, I try to break it down into steps. What's the first thing I can do? When they see how you handle problems, it gives them a model of how they too can carry their own, model their own problem solving without you carrying their emotional weight. The last strategy is prepare, don't repair. And this one is my favorite. Moms, we often become exhausted because we didn't prepare for the day. There's a saying that says, prepare to fail or fail to prepare, right? Or something like that. So let's look and see what that says in Scripture. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. So prepare. Preparing produces peace. It produces calm. The more you prepare, the less you have to repair. So how can you walk that out? All right. Think about what are the hardest times of the day. Is it the morning? Is it bedtime? Is it homework hour? When are those hard times? And before that hard time starts, say to your kids, here's what's going to happen next. Here's what I expect. And here's what I'm going to do. Now they know what's going to happen, and that kind of avoids this a meltdown. The second thing you can do is create micro routines. I like this one. So for example, go back to that first question. What's some of your hardest times? Let's say it's the morning time. We'll create a 3-step morning routine, a small micro routine. It could look like this: clothes, breakfast, brush your teeth, out the door. Put your clothes on, eat your breakfast, brush your teeth, right? 3 steps. Maybe it's the homework routine. Maybe your 3 steps micro routine could be when you get home, get a snack, take a 10-minute break, do something you enjoy, and then start your work. For me, it was the hard times were supper and bedtime. So supper was hard because I didn't often prepare. I would get home, everyone's hungry, everybody's saying, what's for supper, what's for supper? And I stand in front of the refrigerator and I just look and say, I got nothing. And then everybody's up in arms as I make the same chicken nuggets or whatever, right? So I could have done a better job in that by just preparing earlier in the week of what meals are going to look like for the week. Nighttime was also a problem because of this kind of fear of missing out. They didn't want to go to bed because they thought they would miss out on something. And the other problem that we had was mornings, but if I fixed my evening routine, it helped my morning routine get better. Let me explain. An idea that you can do is pack tomorrow tonight. Pack tomorrow tonight. That means lay out everybody's shoes, fill the water bottles, put them in the fridge, go through everybody's backpack, clean them out and get them ready for the next day. Pack lunches. That was a big one for me. Pack lunches. So now I'm fixing my evening routine. We have all these things we're getting done before we go to bed that nobody missed out. They were present during all those steps. And now my morning routine is a whole lot easier. And I've just reduced my chaos by 40% just because I prepared. Moms, grandma, you don't need to be superhuman to raise strong, resilient kids. You just need to stay connected to the one who gives you strength. Isaiah 41:10 tells us, do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen and I will help you. Your home does not need to rise and fall on your perfection. Moms, we are going to mess up, but it's how do we get back up and try again? And when our kids see that in us, we are building their resilient muscles as well. So I hope that this video encouraged you today. And if it did, I hope that you'll like and subscribe and share it with another mom who is struggling with the overwhelm of mom guilt. Let's continue to grow together and learn to help our kids say, I can do hard things. See you next time.